How's it going, everybody? It's John Low Fox. Here's my channel. I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today I am doing a stream talking about Tales of the TMNT. That's right. I'm actually having a special guest on here. I will keep his name a little bit anonymous until he shows up and stuff. So that would be a little bit, but I thought, might as well get some stuff out of the way first before, I invite my special guest up on here. This will be the third time I've had a special guest on my channel in the third person. So yeah, this should be fun. So let's see. So how you guys doing today? I know it's been a while since I've actually used Restream and stuff, but I figured why not? I used to have a lot of complications with it due to the connection and all that other stuff. But I have a new computer now, so let's see how this works out. Um, I decided to use Restream um, for my um, for my guests and stuff because I don't think he likes using StreamYard. So I decided, hey, why not try out Restream and stuff since it's been a while. So that should be fun. But yeah, so I'll just tell you guys about some stuff or whatever. And like I said, we'll wait until he shows and stuff, and I'll send him a link, invite him in the stream and all that. So yeah, um, so let me share screen. All right, so this is my channel, obviously. I definitely want to thank you guys for watching these videos and stuff about my reviews on Mutant Mayhem. I know they're pretty short; they're not like super long or anything, and I kind of just broke it down as like I just covered like what 3 episodes each and stuff for each video for like as an arc and stuff, or I like to call it an arc or a little mini arc. But yeah, but I did not expect to get that many views, especially for that Leonardo one. Which, like I said, that wasn't really my favorite arc out of Tales so far. To me, that was the Donatello one, but this blew up like crazy, like 1,200. I'm like, okay, okay, that's pretty nice. So I decided I wanted to talk about, might as well commit to just strike while the iron's hot, capitalize off that. You know how it is by doing a stream about it. So here I am. So if you guys have any turtle related questions and stuff, I'll feel free to answer. Feel free to answer them, and I'm gonna just discuss that when my guest shows up. So yeah, and then obviously, as you guys know, I released this video today. Male empowerment, Yusei Fudo, the satellite goat and stuff. This blew up like crazy too a little bit, and with like shortly. So I don't know what this will be like after a couple of more days, but like I looked back a couple of hours ago, it was like 52, 50 something views. I was like, holy crap. I'm like using my videos don't blow up that fast, but you know, yeah. And then these videos are pretty fun in my opinion. I don't like care about it like crossing it. Well, I do kind of care, but still, I like the fact that it's definitely past 50 something views and stuff like that. The Your Forger one, my lack of interest in Spider-Man movies, Cyclops' treatment in the film so far, and all that stuff. So I can kind of just explain to you my thought process of like what I was thinking about with some of these videos. So I kind of already talked about with the Yor and Akiza thing, how I was like, well, because I just wanted to find a reason just to talk about Yor and Akiza and stuff. So two birds, one stone. Because I got off of watching Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds, and I liked Akiza's character, and I'm like, damn, it really feels like a terrible shame that they kind of wasted her. Like I feel like they needed at least like maybe a filler arc, kind of like how they gave Kiru, that's Yusei's friend, to kind of like redeem him and stuff, and they definitely redeemed him in my eyes. I feel like they could have definitely had done that with Akiza, where you had like a filler arc where she's dealing with like maybe psychic duelists or something, or whatever. I think that would have been a little bit interesting, or ramifications and stuff like that. I mean, where you kind of sort of had that thing, anyways, with the Dark Signer stuff with Misty, where she was Akiza's rival and stuff. I was like, that's cool too. But I mean, like, why, like, why not explore that whole, aspect of the psychic duelists and stuff like that? Like, what are, like, other psychic duelists that are out there and stuff? Just the idea. But but yeah, I don't know. And then I was talking about the Amazing Spider-Man and stuff, and as to why I like the Amazing Spider-Man movies and why I like Andrew Garfield and so. Let me see if I can find the comments. Um, Chat. There it is. So, anyways, yeah. So the Amazing Spider-Man. Um, so I like the movies and stuff, and I like Andrew Garfield himself as Spider-Man and whatnot. So I mean, I thought he was a great actor. I think he's the best live action Spider-Man actor by far. I mean, I know a lot of people like Tobey Maguire. I like Tobey Maguire, and trust me, I grew up watching the Tobey Maguire movies. I grew up watching, and the Andrew Garfield movies was more so in my teenagehood, and Tobey Maguire was my childhood. And then when I reached adulthood or started my adulthood was with the Tom Holland movies. So it's kind of like you're aging backwards a little bit when you think about it, because Toby was the oldest and he was already in college and stuff like that. And then the Andrew Garfield ones is set where he's in high school, about to graduate, and then they went younger row with Tom Holland where he's already like a freshman in high school. So yeah, it's a lot. But anyways, but no, I mean, but I'm serious though. Like with the Tom Maguire movies, like yeah, I have a personal connection with it too. And I remember like back in the day, like when Spider-Man 3 came out, I know a lot of people were like, Spider-Man 3 is terrible and stuff. But no, I remember Spider-Man 3 was really hyped and stuff. Like, oh my god, Spider-Man is going to be dealing with Venom, Harry as the New Goblin, Sandman and stuff. I remember like the little cereal box toys that came with it, where they got the little squirt things and stuff. Yeah, they had like little cereal box like toys inside where they had like little squirt thing for like Spider Man, Venom, um, Sandman, and New Goblin and all that stuff. I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty cool back then. And they had plenty of other spin off stuff like Spider Man Friend or Foe. Of course, the Sam Raimi Spider Man movie video game tie ins like Spider Man 1, 2, and 3. Um, I've played one, like I beat 1 and 2. I had 2. That was the first game, like one of my, I think my first Spider-Man game I had was Spider-Man 2. Um, but yeah, that was that was a really cool game. Never played Spider-Man 3 yet. You know, I don't think it's as good as the second one, but but I hope to play it someday to just finally complete that trilogy. I guess but it is what it is. But yeah, but I just like the Andrew Garfield stuff more because it just resonates more with me. And as I kind of explained in the video, I just liked how they were taking things a lot more serious and they're kind of going a little bit of a different approach in this stuff. I didn't mention that in the video either, but even like Spider-Man's costume in there, it's not it's a little different and stuff like that. That was the first like one of the first times in like comic book movies and stuff where they were starting to like kind of change up the outfits and stuff of what the characters wear a little bit, where at least this version, like this Spider-Man, his outfit's not complex or it's not overcomplicated with lines and stuff. Nowadays, a lot of the outfits and stuff are kind of a little bit overcomplicated or generic. So it is what it is. And then the Cyclops' treatment in film so far. I made that video, and I kind of made this video because I kind of like, in case you guys don't know, there's a YouTuber called T Virus Terrence and stuff. I like his videos. He's a funny person to listen to. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Definitely not gonna lie about that. He is definitely a funny person to listen to. Don't agree with all of his points. Agree with some of them. Don't agree with all of them. You know how it is. Everyone has their own takes. But there was something that he had kind of said that I was like, what? Where he was hyped about the Cyclops being inside Avengers Doomsday and stuff, and was saying that the people that worked on the old X-Men movies didn't understand the characters and didn't read the comics. And I'm going myself like, yeah, they did, because I had the DVDs to all this stuff, so I had access to see the behind the scenes and see what. And I heard like in some of the interviews and stuff like what some of these people were talking about, and I'm like, yeah, they read the comics. I wouldn't say they were like comic book fans originally, because they weren't, and they would tell you that straight up and stuff. They'll be honest. They'd be like, yeah, we weren't exactly comic book fans, or I've been a sci-fi fan, but I've never really been into comic books like that, or I didn't know much about X-Men until or I was not thrilled about doing a comic book movie because it's the 2000s. So, but when I did the research and I looked into these characters and I saw how like very complex they are and how like interesting they are and stuff like that, especially like Wolverine and stuff. Yeah, that kind of got them compelled to be like, all right, well, let's make this into a movie then. Let's really do something at it, and that's how we got the X-Men movies and stuff. But yeah, and then I just got done watching a video about a guy who was talking about how Iceman inside the X-Men movies was kind of wasted and stuff like that. Yeah, I can kind of see it, but you also got to keep in mind too how it's a lot of characters in the X-Men. Like it's kind of like the Avengers and stuff, or Well, the Fantastic Four, that's four people. You can easily do that. But you know, with the X Men and stuff, there's plenty of members in the X Men and stuff where you're always going to have to juggle between who gets screen time, who gets spotlight, or whatever. You know, so it's always a rotating kind of thing. And the thing with Iceman was like Iceman was kind of like 17 in the first movie, and the placement between the second movie and the third movie, like the third movie, I think is a year after the first and the second movie. This stuff, not chronological release. I'm talking about like as in like the actual like timeline is at least a year after. So that kind of is like, oh well, you know, Bobby's not, you know, of age yet to be an X-Men until X3 and stuff, where you know there is either sink or swim. So you know that's kind of one of his highlights. And then Days of Future, him, Colossus, and all them, Shadow Cat and Rogue, have sort of one more moment um, to at least fight off the Sentinels and all that stuff, and then you know they all get killed. That is kind of the story inside Days of Future, where I mean a lot of X Men like members they all get killed, and you know Kitty Pryde's the one that has to go back in time to prevent everything from like, you know, from this from happening in the first place. But you know, but anyways, I've trailed off. I was talking about Cyclops though. So I'm like, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the treatment of Cyclops. Yeah, he was kind of done dirty and stuff. Do I think the Marvel Studios would do a better job? Not really. I mean, sometimes they can be very petty and spiteful, which I feel like that is something to keep in mind, or they'll do a lot of key jingling and stuff like that. I do hope Cyclops would be cool and stuff inside Avengers Doomsday, but it's also like, yeah, but as far as like Avengers Doomsday, I'm not even sure if I'm going to even watch it or not. To be honest, I'm just going to be completely honest because I'm like, I don't want to be like a consumer where I'm going to just be like, well, I'm going to mindlessly watch the movie. But then again, I mean, I'm not saying that's anyone that's watching Avengers Doomsday because you can still watch it and it'll be like, well, you know, I just want to see what they'll do. But it's kind of like, well, I don't think they have a plan, and I don't know. Maybe I got to see like until more information comes out about what people say because I really feel like they're just kind of putting this together as a story. Because remember, like how they were saying, like, well, they got multiple different actors shooting in scenes that they don't even know what they're shooting and stuff like that. Like I think the Nightcrawler actor, he has said, like, said that he was like, that is so weird, you know. And I was like, yeah. So it's a lot going on. But anyways, but yeah, but that's not to take away from your whole. Oh well, you gotta you don't have to watch Avengers Doomsday just because I'm like, I have a lack of interest in it though. But yeah, and then of course you know I've released this video today um, about Yusei Fudo. Wanted to do a little bit of a character breakdown and give a little spotlight to that character and stuff. You know, Yusei. Oh man. And even after making this video, there like I had took so many screenshots. Like you know, normally I always like do like I would put a video game thing in the background and stuff, but I wanted this to be just straight up, just like nothing but screenshots and stuff because that's what it was, just nothing but screenshots throughout the rest of this video. And then I also took some themes from like the soundtrack of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and kind of put it in the video a little bit. So you guys can have something to also listen to because I love the soundtrack and Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds as well and whatnot. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, but yeah, yeah, and I really feel like I want to do more videos talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, just because you know because I was like yeah. Because there's just so much that I feel like I left out, or I just wanted to just talk about and just put out there. Like I was saying, like you know, maybe I might do a thing on Jack or something, or I'm thinking about maybe one of my other videos might be something with Yusei versus Zone, like recapping that and stuff, like or covering like how that fight and everything, you know. Because I'm just like, yeah, there's so much, and I wanted to take screenshots from Yusei versus Zone, but I didn't really rewatch it, and you know, I decided to put this out. I've been working on this um, for weeks and stuff on that video for weeks actually. So it probably does feel a little bit like really paid off that I got again this many views in like 12 hours just because of that. But yeah, because I'm like I was like man I really want to yeah like really Yeah, and there's just like I said, just so much more I want to add, but that'll wait till later, though. But yeah, so this is pretty cool. So those are just my thought process with these videos and all that stuff. Let's see what else. And then I had also dropped something off as well that I can show you guys. All right. Actually, I'll probably say that for another time. My co host is here. So let's copy that link. It's been a while since I've been on StreamYard. Here it is. All right. He'll be joining in just a minute. I really should change the title of the video because I just now realized. Might even. Yep, I'm live. Yeah, let me change the title of this. All right, updating, and there we go. Wait, is there something behind the stage? Nope, that's not it. Code, chat, graphics. Using captions, notes, music, mic guest. Oh snap! Why does that say 24? Okay, that might. Okay, this might work. That's not what I wanted. All right, that's better. You are. Hmm? Okay, that's. Oh, he's using the restroom. My bad. I misread that. All right. Well, he'll be here in just a second. But in the meantime, anyways, this is my other channel, Kubi Charmer. This is something I uploaded earlier, a couple of hours ago. This is remember that Tales vs Infinite animation. That's what I got so far. So, little dialogue and stuff. I do have a little bit more, but I probably need to stay on like work more. I've been busy with work and all that other stuff. You know how it is. In real life, you know. But this is some cool little banter I added to the Tales vs Infinite. So, just a little preview. All right. Yo, what's happening?
What's going on? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, just stepped in the crib, man.
Nice.
I didn't know exactly where you're at so far in the stream, but
Oh yeah,
I'm here.
not much. Just getting started. But yeah, since you're here and stuff, I pretty much covered what I wanted to do basically. But yeah, we can definitely get started. So yeah, everybody, as you know, I'm the John Little Fox and stuff. This is Jay Leno. Try to introduce
Hello.
yourself and tell them exactly what your channel is about and what do you do.
I am Jay Leno, and I pretty much how should I say? I cover what I like. So my channel, the content on my channel is normally pop culture, hip hop, news, superheroes, comics, and my love for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep, I can definitely respect that. I always love, gotta cover what you like and stuff from the heart.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I'd also more so for this year and beyond. I cosplay conventions and I vlog as well.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen like, some of your interviews and stuff. Well, obviously, I watch your channel because I'd be over there. But for the audience that don't know and stuff, over on his channel and stuff, he does some interviews and stuff with like indie creators like Darrell Miller or Ray the Bay and stuff, another cosplayer. Um,
Yeah.
currently, recently he did a video talking about Will Smith and what he's up to lately with his what's it about, Delano? His global
This is
thing.
a new show, Pole to Pole, where he's pretty much an explorer and travels the 7 continents
Yep.
and kind of documents his experiences.
But yeah, stuff like that. Um, whether it be drama and stuff like the Kendrick Lamar and what you call it, and Drake
Drake.
situation or Diddy. It's just a lot of
Yeah.
range of stuff, like range of stuff for like sports and stuff. You know, anything goes.
Yeah, I'm slowing down on the sports because as much as I would love to cover sports, as far as YouTube go, my opinion on YouTube, they don't really want you to scatter around that much.
Yeah, I
So
know what you mean because I mean, like, yeah, some like certain my videos and stuff they blow up, and then some, yeah, not so much. But you know, but it is what it is.
mm,
But anyways,
yes,
I wanted
sir.
to
Yes,
invite
sir.
you on here because I wanted to talk about Mutant Mayhem, or not Mutant Mayhem, not the movie, but the well, I guess the
Tails.
cartoon Tales of the TMNT. Because
Yes,
some of
sir.
my
Yes,
videos,
sir.
yep, some of my videos have been blowing up, especially the Leonardo thing. I was like, oh, I was not expecting 1,000, but decided might as well capitalize off of it. And since I'm always coming on your stream and stuff to talk about Ninja Turtles, I figured, you know what? Why not reach out to you, have you come on this channel, and I could promote you over here, and
Hey,
we could
man.
talk about
Hey, I appreciate it. I
All right,
appreciate it a lot, man. Thanks for showing love.
all right, no problem. So, one of my first questions is, what are your thoughts on the recent season on Tales of TMNT so far?
So, well, I'll start by my review of the first because to me, it's worth comparing season one to season two.
Yeah,
Um, so first, I had to get accustomed to um, it's I guess the formula or plot doesn't run congruent periodically through the season. There's portions of it, but they're just multiple stories in the same sense that doesn't necessarily carry over to season. But season two to me was just darker, and even their voices were more mature because I don't know if everybody else how what their consensus was, but their voice they just sounded a bit more childlike, more immature
yeah,
vocally as far as voice inflections go.
okay.
So it felt darker. It felt like I was finally seeing teenagers.
Yeah, they were definitely able to touch up on like some things like underground fight clubs and stuff, vigilantism, evil human, well, mutant experimentation or whatever, all that stuff. So definitely feels like okay, well that's the kind of stuff that I would actually kind of expect with Ninja Turtles. So let's see where this
And
goes.
as well, they did bring in some of the writers from the 2003 series, cartoon
Yeah,
series.
yeah, Christopher Yost. He's actually like the executive producer on the show, so that's pretty nice.
So I know it hasn't been getting as much attention, but it's almost like the I guess the TMNT art the Ninja Turtle fan base itself has kind of the newer generation has picked it up, but us nostalgic a group of loyal fans, I think they gave up on Tails as a whole. But it's like okay, this season two, you get what you've been asking for in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I can't even complain about that. I mean, at first, I mean, as much as I would kind of want to rant and be like, "Oh my god, it's whoa, I can't believe," but my criticism is kind of extended beyond that, where I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, they actually did improve a lot compared to the first season because a lot of the stuff that I was kind of complaining about, like, okay, well, if you're gonna do school drama, why not have them have friends from school or teachers or mentors and stuff like that? And they did exactly that here. I'm like, okay, this is actually a little bit of a step in the right direction, a little bit.
I would if I was a kid that had no prior knowledge of the turtles, I would really like season two. Like if this is an introduction to the turtles, Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, yeah,
Like 12, yeah, like 12 or 13 years old. I like Raphael having his element. It's like, and then yeah, I do like for each season, I get an isolated moment of each turtle getting their shine. If I were to, yeah, if I were to compliment this series, that's where, yeah, that's something I would honestly say I enjoy.
yeah, that is definitely some focus, or it's definitely really good compared to like, well, I think they definitely stepped their game up compared to like the Mutant Mayhem movie, where it just felt like mainly they were focusing on Leonardo a little bit and not on everyone else, or it was kind of like, eh. But we get to like season one, where even though still not a fan of season one like that, but animation though looks way better 2D animation than whatever they're trying to do with the movies and stuff.
Hmm.
Like the little fan film, or not fan film, but the little short film they did with Chrome Alone and all that. So I'm like, okay, this looked a little bit more visually better. Um, some of the characterization, it's coming along, and now here we are in season two, where I'm like, okay, it's getting a little bit better. So progress.
Yeah. I guess if I were to make my critiques, um I would, if you're going to include the mutanimals, I don't know if they're doing a season 3 or 4. I just don't feel like they've had any highlighted moments. And originally Ray Fillet had a much cooler presence. They went with goofy and slapstick with the mutanimals
Yeah,
more so than, yeah, than like giving them like really cool moments. That's something that I didn't really praise that much. I wasn't in favor of.
yeah. Kind of like, I know this is going to be a random example, but kind of like, let's say Crash Bandicoot, where Crash Bandicoot, Goofy, doesn't really talk much, but he's like, makes a lot of weird noises and stuff. But then the writers and stuff of Crash Bandicoot were like, we kind of regret making him like that. We kind of wish we would have at least had him talk, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
To kind of give
Hmm.
him a little more of a characterization, sort of, like that kind of thing with the Mutanimals, where some of them came and talked like that, and they're just around, but
Then I don't know. It might be a play on because Post Malone may not be in the budget to say Ray Fillet like a Pokemon over and over again.
yeah, right, or speaking Vermonese,
yeah. Jackie Chan's not in the budget, so we got him
right,
speaking vermin. So,
exactly. But
but
yeah,
well, but I the scratch. I do like the homage being played. The Mirage original Archie characters. Their
yeah,
inclusion into the plot of the show. So it's, I know that there's somebody in there that really knows their stuff instead of having a stranger have control of this property.
yeah. It definitely, like, I think they're definitely pulling a lot from like the IDW comics a lot, like because you see like Scratch, where I'm like. To me, I'm like, man, that's old hop, or like like with the story and everything with the Scratch guy
Hmm.
and the whole, oh, he knew
I
the
thought it
turtle.
was Hob too.
Right. Or I mean, well, that's basically out to me. I'm like, come on, at that yeah. So that, and there's a lot of other stuff too, like Kasune, she's in there. I'm like, okay, it's another IDW character. Um, this isn't exactly her whole thing where she's like the crime boss of the Purple Dragons, but whatever.
Hmm.
First time being inside, you know, the series. So yeah, so a lot of stuff that they take from the comics. So I got to at least give them credence there.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the Easter egg, and I mean, it's a demograph. It's a large demograph to cover, and at the end of the day, this these Ninja Turtle series that they relaunched and reintroduced to us is really for is really to connect to the next generation, and that's who buys the product and the merchandise. So I get it.
Yeah, that is true. Like,
I mean, I would prefer a more martial arts Asian cultured allied or even with the villains that they introduced from the Turtle universe. However, how well would that connect to a 4 and 5 year?
Right. Kind of like or you could probably go like a route of like, let's say if you for like, I don't know, random example, like you do Power Rangers with like TMNT and stuff, where it's kind of like that, where it's like kind of that cheesy or that corny. I can still take it as TMNT. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or like
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I'm just now sort of finding out or watching this, but you ever heard of Wildcats by
But SWAT cats. I know SWAT cats. I know Thundercats. But Wildcats, no, you have to fill me in.
So Wildcats. So basically, I believe it's by Image Comics. So you know the artist Jim Lee, right?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, Jim Lee. He's the current editor of like DC Comics and all that stuff, and
Okay.
he's a really and Jim Lee. He's like one of the best artists from like Marvel and DC. He like let me give you some example of his artwork. So he did the '90s X-Men artwork, and I know
Oh,
you've
okay, okay. Like the uncanny 90s?
no, just like back in the '90s where like the X-Men was just called X-Men and all that stuff.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Or this is a huge example where you'll definitely recognize his artwork. But I know you've seen like Batman Hush and like Batman Under the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jim Lee's artwork right there.
Okay, that's very grit. Little more if he does the panels, if I'm not mistaken with Hush, you get more close-up shots and chest ups and facial expressions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I got you.
So before Jim Lee started doing like Marvel and all that stuff, he used to do a he had his own indie comics and stuff like that. One of it was Wildcats. So Wildcats was like this comic book series and all that stuff. And eventually they branched it off into like, you know, a cartoon, right? A little
Hmm.
action cartoon kind of thing. But the cartoon was kind of a little bit radically different compared to the comic book, where, you know, obviously the comic book was a lot more serious and stories a lot more different, whereas the cartoon was kind of a little, you know, kiddish, you know.
Hmm.
And they kind of watered it down basically. But yeah, kind of like that with Ninja Turtles. Like, even though it may not be as one to one or as accurate, but it's for, you know, for the times.
I'm looking now at this Wildcat series. Okay. You know what? When this series came, I forgot the name of this series. I remember this series. It didn't have that many seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah, kind of a failed show, like low key. That's how I found
Yeah.
out about it because I was watching like something on YouTube a little while ago. And I was like, wait, Wildcats, and I even heard like, you ever heard of Savage Dragon?
Oh yeah, yeah. Most definitely heard of Savage Dragon.
Yeah, I was like, wait. So Wildcats and Savage Dragon both had cartoons. I'm just now finding out. I'm like, okay, that's new to me. But yeah, but yeah, currently I think Wildcats is sort of owned by like DC now, so it's a whole lot of stuff going on. So Jay Leno, you still there? Huh. Not sure if he's having technical difficulties with his mic or something. But yeah.
Okay, here we go. Can you hear me now?
All right. Yep, that's better.
Okay, I see. Okay, I can't open up another box. Okay,
Oh yeah, cool.
but
Oh yeah, you
so
can just send it to me. I could probably open it up.
well, I just wanted to look at the Wildcat show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, while you were talking to me, but yeah, a lot of people do not know is there were several networks that had Saturday morning cartoons. And if I'm not mistaken, you there was a channel called USA, and what might be familiar to you guys is Spike TV,
Okay.
if that's familiar a familiar channel. But yeah, but they had the darker, more mature cartoons Saturday morning were on USA, and if I'm not mistaken, that's where that aired.
Nice. Okay.
That's pretty.
But yeah. that's how I guess you can kind of view it with this new Ninja Turtles thing. Is like, yeah, it may not be
Mm.
like kind of like anything we've seen before, but it's kind of like, oh well, meant to appeal for the new generation and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Agree. I agree. See, I mean, I like the So, really, I wanted to know what was your opinion on Leonardo kind of getting the taking up the Night Watcher mantle.
Um, it was interesting. I don't remember if he did he actually go by the Night Watcher inside the season.
See. I'm not sure, but I mean, it's kind of obvious that that's
Yeah, a
where
little
the
callback.
that arc came
Yeah,
from.
yeah. Usually, Raph and Leo are the ones that are kind of going this whole vigilante kind of spree kind of thing. Raph,
Mhm.
obviously, with the whole Night Watcher thing from the 2007 movie, and Leo sort of did it before in like the 2012 cartoon, where he was like, "Well, let me kind of work with Karai and Shikigame and like hit Shredder where it hurts and stuff," and started this whole gang war and everything, and there was a whole lot. But this is all right. It could have been a little bit more better. Like I said, I don't think this is the strongest. Well, it was probably the strongest season compared to like what we have so far. But I would say like to me, this is probably the third best written arc in my opinion. But yeah,
Mhm.
still think that they kind of watered down Leo, where I'm like, nah, he needs to be a little bit more confident and sure of himself as a leader, and
Yeah,
he step up as like the older brother here, you know. But yeah,
I agree. If I guess my as far as these episodes, my favorite characters episodes, I'd say I really like Donnie's and Raph's wasn't bad. That is my favorite Ninja Turtle is Raph, but Donnie's and Michelangelo's episodes were my favorite. If I were to pick a favorite from the four turtles, how about yourself?
okay. Yeah, mostly like Donnie and Raph so far and stuff. I would say like at least in this season they had the best episodes. Leo he comes in number three, and Mikey. I wasn't really a fan of that last arc though, but
Yeah, with the Michelangelo, I kind of like the it was almost like Big Pharma and like conspiracy theories and medicine.
yeah,
So I mean, I was like, all right, this is getting kind of this is getting kind of trippy for a kids show, but as an adult, I'm like, okay, are you kind of introducing kids to how this medicine game works?
yeah, they do get
How the world hustles medicine across the world? All right.
they do get a little crazy on that one,
Hmm.
especially the nepotism stuff with with the family and all that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's the point that I was making. This is I'm like this is beyond a child show now.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that is true. So one of my other questions is, I was kind of wondering, do you have like a list of like your top five characters from this series specifically?
Outside of the turtles or
No, I mean
just
from like this in particular version of the Turtles. Do you have like a top five for like favorite characters?
yeah, I can easily do a top five. Um so Raph being one, I Donnie being two. I really think I think the the dang it, what's the guy's name that's voiced by Pete Davidson?
By Pete Davidson. Is it?
Yeah, Michelangelo's friend, the
Oh,
rich
Rod.
kid's son. Yeah, Rod.
Okay.
Rod. And you know what? Although he was a villain, I thought he was a really dope. I like the whole Tokar and Razor arc. All those characters, that whole episode. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
put them at my five.
that was pretty cool. For me, for five, I would say like of course Donnie's my favorite Ninja Turtle.
Okay.
Um, just mainly because I mostly relate to him and Michelangelo the most as far as like just in general. But Donnie, I don't think, yeah, like I said, you just can never really go wrong with that character. So I'm like, all right, Donnie's all right.
Hmm.
So I got him right there. Next up, I got Irma. I kind of liked her in that yeah with the Toka and Razar thing. Um,
I agree.
thought she was
I agree.
yeah. At first, I didn't even know that was Irma. I was like, wait, what? That's Irma? But I'm like, she kind of gave me like the classic Mirage April vibes, where she's like, because you remember like Mirage April, she's like a little bit of a scientist and stuff, or she is a scientist, and a good friend of Donnie's, and she also wears kind of like blue instead of like yellow and stuff. So I'm like, okay.
Mm. Yep.
So
Yep.
kind of gave me the same vibes right there. And then especially the part where she was like, when she was coming to like save everybody with the metal head and stuff. And then she's like, all right, I'm coming to save you guys. And then the werewolf, then Razar starts to howl. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait out here. I kind of, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, smart thing. Smart thinking. Nope.
You know
So,
what? I random thought. I thought the jokes hit a lot better in this season too. This season as well, because I did laugh at that same moment that you spoke on.
yeah, I was like, yeah, it's maybe a cartoon, but I'm like, nah, you never know sometimes. But yeah.
Hmm.
So Irma, I gotta give it to her, and then Pigeon Pete.
Pigeon Pete.
I remember how you said before in one of your videos, you're like, this might be like probably the best version of Pigeon Pete, and I'm like, yeah, you might be right on that. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish they can kind of get rid of the bird shit joke and all that, but outside of that, I'm like, all right, he probably is one of the best versions, and it's crazy to me how I'm like, man, how is he more of a father figure to the Ninja Turtles than the actual villain? I'm like, this makes no sense. Even old Hob and stuff feels more like a father figure a little bit to the Ninja Turtles when he was trying to
Yep.
like help them out in the beginning. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But yeah, I like Pigeon P and him being a little bit of a active mentor and stuff, especially when he was like working with Raph and stuff in those first three episodes. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. 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 Pigeon Pete saves the darn day. Who was in the boardroom and said we're gonna make Pigeon Pete the guy? Like that's yeah. That's just.
Exactly. Or at least you
I
could have
live.
made it like a Munal or something to make sense of the wisdom thing, but still. But yeah. And that could be a callback too to Slash, because if you remember in the comics, IDW comics, Slash is kind of like this unintelligent character and stuff.
Mm.
And then when they completed his mutation or whatever with some kind of injection, Slash all of a sudden got like super smart and was like, "Oh, I'm complete now," and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Pigeon Pete kind of takes out like I think he might take a little influence from that version of Slash.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
my last two I gotta say is Wingnut and stuff. Even though yeah, she's kind of a little gender swap, but you know what? I'm like, you know what, Wingnut, she's not bad. Like I'm like, she's a cute character and stuff. She's all right. I don't have too much complaints. She'd be like, um, especially when she was like captured and stuff. She's like, oh my god, like
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I agree. I
yeah.
agree.
So I'm like, Wingnut, she's all right. And then my last character I gotta say is probably Scratch, or I like to call him Old Hob. It's just Old Hob. But yeah, Scratch is pretty cool too. He could have been a little bit better, but I was like, you know what, he's all right. I'm like, especially that one part where like Leo was talking about, so oh, I'm the hall monitor. Like, I know what you mean, like what you're going through. I used to be the hall monitor, and Scratch is like, are you comparing my life to you being a hall monitor? Like, no, bro. So yeah, so that's my top five.
That's. I mean, actually, that's a pretty dope top five. I mean, to attribute to you speaking on Scratch, I did thought it was when I saw the trailer. I definitely thought that was Old Man Hob, and I was thinking to myself, um, for a season to have, I guess you'll call it a sub villain. Because I mean, the big shebang. This is supposed to lead up to the sequel film with Shredder. So they be them taking their time and bringing in these different foes. Like I I I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
like because Old Hob was like their first villain inside in the comics
I,
and in the IDW comics.
Yes, sir.
And he used to work under like Baxter Stockman. So yeah, they are slowly trying to build a shredder and stuff. So that's something. I kind of wish that they would probably like kind of like drop in some kind of like like some breadcrumbs and stuff and be like, oh, Well, here's Karai as like an undercover agent as a transfer
Mm,
student or something like that to keep an eye on the turtles, and then we get the big reveal in the sequel or something like that.
yeah, yeah. I was kind of hoping for that. I was hoping to possibly see Rat King,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, they did something with the Rat King. I'm not sure if you know, like that dude Bernie.
so from the film, or are you talking about from this season?
He's in the first season too. So Bernie, he was like some gangster in a tracksuit or whatever.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 He was also in the film. Yes, the green
yeah,
tracksuit. Yep.
yeah, he had a. I can't remember how long he was in that movie because it's been a while. Then he was in the first season because remember he was working with like Goldfin and the other little aquatic mutants and all that stuff, right?
Yep. Go
Yeah, I
go
think
ahead. I know exactly where you're going, but I want you to still say it. Yes. Go.
right. So originally, I think he was supposed to be Rat King or a version of the Rat King or something. That's what I heard. But yeah,
He is. He
yeah,
is. Yeah. So I was hoping that he would make his appearance.
you know,
So
another crazy idea came to mind. What if because you know how in the IDW comics, Rat King and Kasune are supposed to be like brother and sister, right?
mm,
They
okay.
could probably they could
Okay.
probably bring that over sort of here in the but yeah, into the show where you got Rat King and got Kasune, but I don't think they'll probably do that though.
Well, I mean, it's just Katsuni is she doesn't have the same presence that she has in the prior films, but I mean, possibly.
Right.
Do you I got a question. Do you think they're going to go further into the mutanimal enemies and give us like what's their name, Ninjara, or that what was that wolf looking beast too that was from South America?
Um, you're talking about like Ninjara from the Archie comics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you think they're going to go further into the Archie bag if they do a season three?
They might. I mean, well, Ninjara, she wasn't a villain. Well, she was sort of a villain, but not
Well,
to the
okay,
extent it was
not
like
nin I mean, there was Ninjara, then there was another
Alapex.
wolf that was a male too.
Oh no, Razor is the only wolf male I can think of. But are you thinking Alapex?
Well, I don't have too much knowledge of Alapex. I know of Alapex in the IDW series. I don't. It's not recollecting to me if she was a part of
No, no, she's in
the
IDW.
Archie's.
She wasn't like so. The thing with Ninjara was like Ninjara, as you know, she was like originally sort of a villain for the Turtles, but became a girlfriend to like Raphael and stuff. And she used to like kind of like live with the Turtles for a while too. But they had Ninjara and Raphael break up because I think they lost the rights to Ninjara, so they couldn't use that
Okay.
character anymore. So when we get to the IDW comics, like decades later, they basically kind of did their own version of Ninjara by doing Alopex. So that's why like
Mm,
Alopex and Ninjara are like so similar and stuff.
mm,
But
okay.
so I don't know what they're doing because you told me like before in the DMs and stuff that you were reading the Battle Nexus stuff. So now they kind of got a hold on Ninjara now. So that's something. Philip, he's probably having a little technical difficulties, but it's cool. Can wait. But yeah,
There we go. There we go. Yeah, but yeah, I just if they bring in more mutants, okay. So basically, I would prefer to bring in more mutants than humans because they can be more graphic and be more mature. I really liked how they were able to use their weapons against Tokar and Rezar, and it just was more gory. But the long as the blood is not red, they can get away with it.
oh yeah, they can go all out. You saw how
Mhm.
crazy the 2012 series is going with some of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
that'll be the closest thing to that dark, gritty, mature Ninja Turtle content that we've been begging for. That's the closest thing we're going to get to. as far as
Yeah,
Nickelodeon goes.
yeah. Even and speaking about like mutants and like more characters and stuff being introduced, um, because I was kind of thinking like you remember Rod's sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of thought she was like a reference to like or she might be a version of Madame Knoll.
Oh, Madam No, Madam No. That's not ringing a bell for me. Fill me in.
So like, I'm gonna take you way back with the history thing. So in the comics, the Archie comics, Noel he used to be like a business CEO kind of guy. That was like a villain for the mutanimals and stuff like that. And he was kind of like this demonic looking guy with horns. And then later on, IDW had like when they relaunched, or not relaunched, but when they brought Noel back over, they kind of gender swapped him and made him into a female this time. And he's like, this time this is Madame Noel, where she's like, oh, this demonic looking alien creature with like horns and like she's bald and she's like red and all that. She was in Armageddon games.
Okay, 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 okay.
Remember with like Krang, who was in there? Rat King
Well, I
and
think they made him a dude again, or there might be a different character with horns in the Nexus.
oh no, that's Savante Romero. Yeah, he is a classic TMNT villain. But yeah,
Okay, okay. Well, thanks for filling that in.
but yeah, but yeah, but no, I mean, I was thinking like she might be a reference to Madame Noel because I could have sworn she called her company Noel Industries or something like that.
Okay,
Because Noel also runs like a corporation inside the IDW comics,
okay,
but she's just not around like that though. But if you like check out like the Turtles universe comics or like the Mutanimals miniseries, yeah, you'll kind of see her in there.
okay, okay.
Yep.
Well, so are we? Are have they officially canceled the sequel for the movie?
Um, I think the sequel is still a go. I think they just cancel this show in itself though,
Okay.
but they still got the comics and stuff going, and I think the movie is still greenlit though.
Yeah, I did read an article that their continuation will be through comic.
Yeah, and I think recently they just released issue 3 for the Tales of the TMNT. So there's that.
I got you. I got you. Okay.
So I have another question. So if you were personally working on the Tales of the TMNT, like the show itself, and you can't like change anything that was already established in the movie and stuff like that, you can't add in Shredder or anything like that or whatever. What would you add as your personal touch to the show?
Hmm. Give me give me like 1 second. Well, if I were to add something to the show, I would have probably uh gave I would have gave Kasuni more of a spiritual magical presence on the show instead of her having to being a mob boss, because I think that connection would have brought in the the Asian culture to, which pretty much has been their inspiration, considering from the film they used martial arts shows.
Yeah.
But possibly introducing magic
Okay.
and demigods. I mean, the character's name is Kasuni,
Right.
and I think that arc would have, yeah, I think that would you would have brought, and then with Shredder not being introduced yet and bringing in Katsuni, we can get into what I liked about the IDW series is bringing in the Dragon Scale.
Okay. Yeah,
So
because you know the whole deal with Dragon and stuff. Like he's Kasune's dad and all that.
talk
Um,
to me. Yes, sir.
yeah, Dragon in the IDW comics, he's like probably like the most powerful, like one of the most powerful cosmic beings in the TMNT universe. Like he's the embodiment of evil, death, and all that stuff. Where his sister is supposed to be the opposite, and then Dragon had like children of his own, known as the Pantheon, and Kasune and Rat King are part of his children and stuff. that are like demigods.
So like so we could I mean I not necessarily Kasuni will be fighting. However, Kasuni would have a presence, maybe be as a boss, or it would just be very subliminal to lead into Shredder for the film. And to me, it would give Shredder a more intimidating presence for
Oh
when
yeah,
the movie would finally drop.
oh yeah, I could definitely get down with that because yeah, I'm just like just imagine like if like the old lady thing it was just a facade because like that's an idea I had too. I was like, what if it's just a facade? Because Kasune does have the ability to shapeshift, and like
Mhm.
she abandons that, and this is her real form where she looks like the one from the comics, and
Mhm.
Kasune she is supposed to be like the wife of the Shredder, so you could
Mhm.
like that's like how you can kind of sort of bring him in a little
Mhm.
bit, or like slowly kind of introduce him, like, oh well, here I come.
And yeah, and that right there would have impressed me, and I would have been like, this might be one of the best plotted series I've watched in quite some time or in my life as far as a cartoon series.
Oh yeah, yep.
How about yourself?
I kind of already rambled some ideas already, but if
Okay.
I could, I would probably like if I could, I would try to like make this mm, like I said, kind of a little bit like Power Rangers and stuff. You know how like definitely like you've seen like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or like Power Rangers Zeo and all that,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, well, they go to school, they're like normal kids, but then they fight crime and stuff like that, or whatever when the time calls for it. And then you can probably have some moments with like some of the side plots or something like that with certain characters or whatever, just doing stuff or whatever. I feel like that would be
Yeah.
a good way to flesh out certain things. And then, of course, definitely add in more of the IDW characters and stuff and kind of like maybe age them down. They can either be like students or other mutants and stuff like that out there, that kind of thing, or teachers
Okay.
even.
Okay. I could see that because the actually it does feel like they might be aging on the show, like not just in voices, but they could use that in school to where if they were to do more seasons, I thought it might be kind of cool to see them in college or something. But yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so cool.
because we have had shows in the past where even though a lot of these characters are supposed to be like adults or and stuff like that,
Hmm.
but you have stuff like Iron Man Armored Adventures or X-Men Evolution and stuff where they like completely took those characters and like aged them down, but was still able to tell like a very compelling story around it though, where it worked.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yep.
That's pretty.
So those are pretty much all my questions for the TMNT thing. So, do you want to talk about your indie thing?
Sure, sure. Should I go ahead and start or?
I can bring up. Say, hang on one second.
So I should.
All right, you can see it, right?
Let me look. Let me look. Let me look. Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
All right. So, hang on one second. So, tell us about your indie comic. What's that about?
Okay, so trying to see how to do this because depending on how far this goes,
And I
I had
mean,
to make I
I was
had
gonna
to
say,
make a lot of adjustments to this character that I wanted to create because I looked up the copyright. I would to just to let other individuals know that you cannot make a turtle. You cannot make a turtle with the bandana. You cannot make a turtle with martial arts weapons. Some future notice. So I took the shell off of this character. This character is an alien.
okay, that works.
And so ideally I don't believe the IDW series is going to expand on Lita. And so this character, I mean, without permission, but hopefully one day I could work with Mirage. But this character has a time stress. There's this world that hires time travelers to prevent deaths and save people. Hence, they hire an individual to do such,
Okay.
which would be Jay Leno. He arrives in a universe that's surrounded by African American people, and he ends up, yeah, saving, and he's more like of a mercenary for hire.
Okay. So this character is named after you. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like I know I'm not sure if you ever played it, and I haven't played this in a while either, but like Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse and stuff, where like they got
Mm,
all this because of the whole Future Trunks thing, they got all this Elder Kai God of Time stuff going on or whatever. Sounds a lot like that, in a way. Where like
yeah,
Trunks is going back in time to try and make sure like everything is like, not all screwy with the timeline and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so now he does, as you can see, he does have a firearm, but this firearm only shoots non-lethal rounds. He has other gadgets as well, because I mean, he's not allowed to kill.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, obviously he doesn't know martial arts, but he's been trained, so it gets interesting. So yeah,
All right.
that's
But yeah.
that's kind of so far I'm willing to deliver before I work out the kinks and make my first issue.
All right. Cool. So like, did you draw this or did you have a friend or somebody or like commission
Yeah.
somebody?
So I definitely I hired an artist. Yeah, I definitely hired an artist. The outfit itself is inspired by one of a concept design of an adult leader,
Oh,
and the wrist gauntlet is inspired by the Alja.
from Predator.
Yeah, and that's a 50 cal. That's a 50 cal sniper rifle. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Definitely gives me some Jack and Daxter type of vibes.
Oh, dope, dope.
When you think about it. But yeah, so what inspired you for like to want to like create your own comic and stuff?
Well, honestly, it was me being around Darrell Miller at Royalty Virtue, and I get flashes of ideas and inspiration in my head, and I mean, this character has been in my head for quite some time, but I was just around somebody that actually did it and created the comic, found out who to make it, and I mean, who can make it, how it could be done. I mean, these days you can hire people to do almost anything, and I just figure I'd start off with one issue and see where I could take it from there. Just because it's not cheap.
Sounds like Ninja Turtles already, because you know how like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird started and stuff. So
Yeah,
you'll try to make it like a one shot and see where it goes.
yeah.
All right, cool. That's really
Well, I
nice.
mean, yeah. I mean, there could be special edition issues where I could have him interrupt. I can create like a multiverse where different. This is an idea I had is as a multiverse where he interrupts world assassinations.
Okay,
So like, what if John F. Kennedy didn't die? He was saved.
that'd be pretty interesting.
But yeah.
But yeah. So my last question about it is like how would you promote your books? Like, will you like promote it in like an online store or like at conventions and stuff like that?
I'm gonna start off organic at conventions. I I there's a lot of properties, a lot of people selling online, and yes, eventually I would have to have a store, but I'm going to start off physically with these copies and get them printed and be a vendor at a convention.
All right, nice.
I like meeting people. Like if I'm selling to sell something that nobody's interested in, that possibly people are not interested in or have knowledge of, putting a product on the just creating a store may not be good enough to me. Maybe for other people it is, but if I were sitting in front of you with this issue, I might get you to glance at my comic, Jonah. That's how
Yeah,
I look at it.
yeah, I'll probably like pick it up and be like, huh, let me flip through it. Like that's what I always do with comics and stuff. Is like I always flip through it and just be like,
Mm,
all right, there got to be something to at least captivate me and want to be like, all right, I want to pick this up again at some point. Like not just like, oh, I read it one time and it's done, but I mean like, all right, well, let me like pick it up for old time's sake and just check it out again and again, that kind of thing. Have a reason to come back to it.
and well, also I'd like to add, I um I wanted to make my own character because I when I was around Darrell, when he made his own character or even his own cosplay character, I can collab with any independent artist. And even if it's not an independent artist, other people can connect, I guess, I could, if I'm popular enough, I can work with anybody.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, and yeah, I definitely see like Darrell definitely got a lot of stuff going. I can't really recall everything, but stuff like I know is like his Power Ranger fan project and stuff. That's pretty cool and all
yes.
that. Definitely a good homage to the Power Ranger stuff. And then I know he's got his little board game and stuff. That's pretty cool. Never would have thought
Yeah.
about doing my own board game. I'm like, all right, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, man, being around Darrell, I don't know how he does it. But he can work, he works on a lot of, he can tackle a lot of content. And yeah, a
Yeah,
lot. Comics, books, movies, TV shows. He gets hired for acting as well, strategy board games.
yeah. All right. So that's pretty much all the stuff that I wanted to cover. Is there anything you want to say? That's all I got for the stream.
Guys, make sure you guys sub, add, hit that bell for Jonah Level Fox. This guy is younger than me, and he's a freaking library and sponge of information. I don't know how he's able to retain and be able to draw back so much lore and content, but that's his superpower. I don't think there's not too many other channels or people you're gonna have that chance in doing that. So, man, subscribe to the guy Jonah Level Fox.
Appreciate it. And definitely check out Jay Leno and stuff. Dude's very versatile. Covers, a variety of things I already talked about before, stuff like that. And he's also a huge turtle fan, just like me. So, All right. Well, that's the end of the stream. All right. Well, everyone have a good night.